Oh, no.
That's the next skill, is coming up with a solution, is coming up with a goal, clarifying it, and then it meets everybody's needs. And it can happen, when you see this on, like, the dollhouse video, it happens pretty quickly. But most of us skip over the personal message and go right to fixing it or problem solving. Mm-hmm.
So what I said, similar to what Alicia said, was I'm frustrated, but I said that you can't find a quiet activity for rest time.
That's how we feel.
So
And then underneath that,
it's kind of like giving them a suggestion, but not outright giving them
you
a
have to
suggestion.
drop your agenda.
Hmm?
You have to drop your agenda.
Okay,
Agenda.
You can
Okay.
say what you hope for.
okay.
Truly, okay,
I wish
my kids are,
It's
it's again, you're thinking, I wanna explain my actions to this child so they truly understand, and usually all of our behaviors are derived out of feelings. So that's what the personal message does, it makes it apparent. So for me, if my child is coming to me, you know, in our electronic age, it is concerning. Some of these kids are like, there's nothing to do. And in your mind, you can figure out 100 things. So it could be that, so to go back one to the empathy, it could be that when they're coming to you complaining, really the empathy is you want me to suggest something. And then you know when you suggest nothing satisfying to them. So the feeling I have, yes, it's really a hope that they can find things to do that are intriguing and engaging, that give them the feeling of independence, or that they get really engrossed in something and lose themselves, and so that would be my hope for them. And I am concerned that with all of the stimulation going on, that they're a little dependent on that to feel satisfied. And that would be a personal message, like, to my team. But that might not solve the problem. That's the next step. And we'll get, you probably need that or not. I mean, sometimes they're like, oh, okay. It could be a boundary too. So along your lines, I want you to go sit over there. The boundary would be something like, I'm tired of talking about this. Or not boundary, but you're just declaring that you don't want to talk about it anymore. In my uh-huh.
Can you say something like, I personally, so I love rest time.
Mhm.
It gives me a time to refresh recharge
Mhm.
myself, recharge my batteries. Can you say something like that? I like rest time, so, because I like it, I think it, well, we can say it.
I want it for you too.
I want it for you too,
That's great.
right.
That's
I
great to
thought-
think about.
I think it's necessary for you because maybe you'll be recharged if you have rest time.
It's like you're sharing your intent behind your actions. That's what it is. Like,
Yeah.
instead of just imposing it, it's like your reason. You know, some of you, maybe when you grew up, what you heard was like, because I said so. You're actually explaining your actions when you use a personal message before you jump right into doing whatever it is.
I had an epiphany because I have a cousin who has a 7-year-old boy, and whenever we're out together, the minute he starts getting wiggly or doing whatever, she goes right to, if you don't stop it, we're going home. You know, and like if you don't cut it out, but like we really see that all the time.
All the time.
And I'm so sensitive to it because she drives me, I love her, but she drives me crazy with it. And he's in trouble before anyone's ever had any other conversation with
it's
him.
like a default.
And he looks at her like, what? Like, had no idea he was bouncing all over the place. And I just realized that whole middle
She skipped
chunk
a
is
step.
gone.
She skipped
You
a
know?
step.
There's no
She
middle.
skipped 2 steps.
Right.
Probably 3 actually.
Right. Right. But like, you know, there's no understanding, there's no expectation,
Yeah.
there's no connection.
Yeah.
It's just right to the
And
end.
a lot of parents and adults that are stressed, you do. When we get to the limit setting, one of the most powerful things when you set a limit at first is not linking the rule with the consequence. You just state your expectation. As opposed to, you know, kid leaves their bike in the driveway, when you're finished with your bike, I'd like you to put it in the garage. Usually what we say is, if you don't put your bike in the garage, you're not gonna have it for a day. Let them do it without the imposition of the consequence, and you're building their self-control. Yeah.
No, I'm just gonna say, especially if
they're outside their environment, they're outside the supermarket or something, and the child is.
Oh, yeah,
not
you
able
want
to
it
walk.
fast.
You want it fast and
Yes.
furious. You don't have time for, this.
And the last thing you wanna truly say is like, it's embarrassing to me, I'm actually afraid you're not gonna do what I say right now. And I'm worried I'll be humiliated, I mean, that's a personal message, and usually kids can actually relate to that more than anything else. Like, I know what it feels like to be embarrassed or worried that I'm gonna look like a fool. And so that's a personal message that can be,
A little child, I don't know, a little bit.
you say differently. And you might not share that personal message, right, it's gonna be relative to what you think they can understand. But they would probably understand, I'm concerned about bringing you to the store. Cause last time we were at the store, when I told you no, you screamed, and I don't want that to happen again, I'm afraid. That would be a personal message. So these examples are good, but probably your own are even better. So let's breeze through a few, and then maybe we can take some of your own if you wanna write down some, we can try. So how about two? Two. What's two? Anybody?
Shonda has been staying alone for lunch for the past couple of weeks. Today you noticed her sad. You noticed her sad and asked her how she feels about him trolling. Child statement, I'm fine, I don't like those kids anyhow, my real friends are at my own school. I really wish you would give your new school a try and find friends to sit with them.
Yeah, that is technically a personal message, but give me more feeling, like how do you so the connection, if I'm this little girl,
It makes me sad that you feel that.
yeah, like I really want you to like it here. I hope
feel
you'll,
people.
yes, I think your first one was good, but that was so powerful. I mean, a kid that's afraid and
But
lonely and
that's more
homesick,
simple though. Well,
and simple is better, I just can't come up with them all the time. But that's truly, I bet, if you're in this field, that's what you really want for them. And you share that with that little girl, she's gonna feel connected, as opposed to, I wish you'd give it a try. It's true, you do. So that's technically a personal message. And sometimes with me, one comes out and then I kind of get more effective as I keep talking. So that was a really powerful one.
What was it?
You
I
said,
really want you to feel like you belong.
yeah,
Something like that.
yeah. I want you to feel like you belong here. I hope that you meet friends like. Yeah, that's it. Simple. How about the next one? What'd you all have? Anybody have a different one you wanna try out?
I said, I wish you would take a chance and sit with some new friends.
That's a personal message. I wish you could take a chance. Three? Number three?
Isaac is impulsive and tends to get in trouble for hitting another classmate. After the misbehavior is addressed, you sit down to talk with him. I didn't mean to give Sarah a bloody nose, but she just won't leave my stuff alone. I wish you had talked to her instead of hitting. No.
That's a personal message. How do you feel about it? Well, not about that, but just in general, how do you feel about this kid who feels like there's nothing else they can do to keep that nobody's protecting his things? Oh, okay, that might be how you feel, yeah. Yeah, she said it's upsetting that this stuff is more important than her, so the feeling there would be disappointed. I'm just disappointed that.
Hitting not okay with me. We also have some message.
What'd you say?
Hitting not okay
Okay,
with
you
me.
mean-
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm worried about her safety. I'm worried that that could happen again, and she's gonna really get hurt. So that might be your first personal message out. And at some point, I think there's probably also maybe a feeling of, what you'll see is this moves right into problem solving, because there's another part of me that wants to figure out, I truly want to figure out how I can keep her safe and things protected at the same time. I just don't know how, but that's what I want. Because I recognize, like, as a role as a teacher, I want to help them figure that out.
So could the personal message be just that?
Yes.
I want to find a way that we can protect your things without anyone else getting hurt.
Yeah, it's when you learn, the next skill we teach that actually is setting up the collaborative goal setting. You probably missed how you really feel about it. Like truly, like, okay, I keep thinking, how is this child gonna learn about how my real feelings about this? And then you just say it, because it just builds their social awareness. But I don't always do that. But that's the essence of this skill, that I'm thinking in the back of my head. Like, they see my face and they see my actions, and I've just explained it to them. So the next time they see that look and that face, they're like, oh, I understand, she's upset. Like, you're really building their ability to read social cues. Because not some young kids, some older kids don't have that ability these days. Yes.
Can I just share, I want to share something that
Sure.
happened yesterday.
Okay.
So, before we went out on the playground, I decided to talk about the rule not hitting your friends. So I asked the kids, you know, what would be a way that you could do that, not hit your friends, and you don't have to go to timeout, you don't have to sit out. So, this one very smart kid who was doing the hitting said, I think, I can't say what he exactly said, but he said, you should talk to your hand and tell your hand not to hit. And that's what we did. It was terrific. That's what we did, and there was no hitting yesterday. Everybody's talking to their hand, I'm not at your friends.
That is so cute.
He came up with that. I thought that was pretty clever. I never would have thought of.
I know,
Right?
until you open it up, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, his father picked them up.
So what are we on, 5?
Four.
4? Oh, 4, just 4. What's 4?
Yeah.
Well, how about this? Time check?
4:30.
Okay. Why don't you look at the list and pick one that you find challenging or you're struggling with, and we'll do a couple more, and then I'd love to bring out some of your own examples. You could just go back to the empathy and just remember last week I said think of a child in some challenging situations. So looking over this list, was there one you either A, wanted to share, or one maybe you were struggling with?
I have more of a question.
Sure.
Since I work with the much younger kids,
Mhm.
does sharing a personal message necessarily have to happen because, or not, that's not what I mean. Does sharing a personal message with the child who's, say, under a year or under, does it necessarily help to do that because they won't necessarily understand, or
That's how they learn. That's how they learn at a very young age, to be able to start putting words to how people feel, and you're really building their emotional vocabulary.
so personal message?
You don't need to talk a lot. I mean, I think an art to this is being able to keep it really short. I'm just not as good at that because I'm thinking too much. But, you know, for example, even, I imagine you do it a lot, you're just not aware of it.
Probably.
Yeah, there's a lot of power in providing a word to what you're feeling and that they see it. Same with them. Remember, I think one of the first days, imagine a circle. This is your brain. The higher outer part of the circle is the neocortex. That's the higher level thinking, higher level skills. That's where language is. It's a higher level, it's the last thing to develop. The middle part is the limbic system. That's the first instinctual thing to develop. Babies, that's all they are. They're just bundles of feeling. And how, as you grow, where you start to gain control over this feeling state is by linking it with the higher level. So the higher level is the control piece, and that's the language place. So you describe a feeling, the more that happens, the more control they start to regulate. It's like a feedback. But the same thing when they see you doing it. You're not gonna come up with some big, long experience, but, you know, I'm sad. I'm really basic at a young age, but it really is powerful as you describe what it, even at a really young age, it can be just describing what you see. Now I remember the video I told you, the baby diapering video.
Oh.
So we have a babies and bonding class, and in the class, people think, how do you do this with a baby? Really powerful. So in one of the videos, there's an orphanage in Budapest that Magda Gerber, she's a famous child development expert, took this, orphans usually have the lowest outcomes of many because of various reasons, but she in Germany took over this, or Budapest took over this orphanage, and she retrained all the staff. And they were really using very much these skills with everyday caregiving routines with these babies. And all they did, in essence, was empathy and personal message. So there's this concept called tarry time with infants, and as we get older, it's the time it takes from when you describe something and it like actually registers in their brain. So, but if you start routines early on and you tell them what you're gonna do and you wait for it to register and then you do it, they really start like learning. And you watch this video and it's incredible because she's just describing what she's gonna do, she waits and then she does it. But this baby says, okay, so we're gonna change your diaper. So what, baby's laying on you, so what comes next? I'm not explaining this well. She says something like, she does the same thing every time and says, oh, so now we're gonna take your diaper tab off, and you wait, and sure enough, 15 seconds later, the baby's hand goes right to the tab, takes it off. What comes next? Right, other side. And so that just feeding back what they're doing, right, you got it. This side comes off, and it's just this ebb and flow between just describing and letting them process it, and then doing it. And I know it's not a personal message, but it's kind of that idea that you were really building things at a very young age to gain their understanding of the way the world works.
That's why she would always tell the baby what she's gonna do first.
Yes.
This way, every single day, he or she
The
would
trust.
understand and the trust, they
Yes.
would connect and would know what happens
Yes.
next.
Like, I think they described how usually what we do when we see the little babies, and you go and you pick them up. Instead, she's like, I'm going to pick you up. Wait, go in, pick them up. And those simple things are, I don't know, it's a
That's what
Yes, I thought
like
you
to-
did.
I like to know what I'm doing before I do it. I don't necessarily do it all the time.
Yeah.
But I do, like.
That's hard when you have a bunch, but,
Yeah, that's why I talk.
sorry, I digress, but,
It's a good point though, because after I learned that point,
yeah.
I started doing it with my 16-year-old dog.
Oh.
And
You say
it
dog.
But it really, she relaxed, I said, I'm gonna pick you up now, and I pet her, and then I pick her up, she's more willing to be
Yeah.
springy and come up to me
Yes.
than all stiff
She knows
and
what's gonna
it's
happen.
hard,
And
yeah,
we
and
forget
it's
that
not a
with kids.
surprise.
I used to put my child on the table, I was like, all right, diaper change was as fast as I possibly could. Squirmy, I was like, watch how fast I can do this. But that feeling something is always being done to you. I see personal messages as a way to kind of explain before you don't have to do anything next, but it's really powerful like that. Yes.
There's a concept from Margie Carter and Deb Curtis that I love it. Power on, power for, and power with. And power on is you're the adult,
Yeah.
you're here, and they just need to do what you tell them to do. Power for is, this adult in charge, the child has a little bit of say, but the adult's really calling all the shots. And then the power with is really getting with them and saying, what can we do? What are your ideas?
Yes.
Like that. And, it should be, one of the things they said to us in a group was, your day should be very little power on. Power on is safety
Love it.
and basic necessity. You have to go to the bathroom, you know, things like that. But but when you move down the chain, and they had us like put down your schedule of the day that you are in, and then mark next to it what you consider your day. Power on, power with, power fours. And then we clocked how much of our day was spent doing each thing. And this reminds me a lot of that. I keep going back to that power with, because this is all power with.
Yes.
And it's interesting because this is the discipline part. And when we did this as a group, the discipline part kept going to the on.
Yes.
You know, and this is bringing discipline to the with, not just curriculum.
That's the type, yeah,
It's like
she actually
ABC
talks
here.
about that in the
ABC
diapering
plan.
video. It's like the seeds of discipline,
Yeah.
like begin just like that.
And it's
Because the
still a
baby's
partnership.
cooperating, it's a
Yeah,
partnership.
yeah.
She's like, okay, next what happens? She waits, you can see the clock going down, legs go up. You're right,
And if you're not
exactly.
sharing yourself, then you're not coming down to the with. Like if you
Love
don't do the
that.
personal message,
Yeah.
you're still this, it reminds me of like the Peanuts person, blah, 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 blah. You're still that person until you come down and no matter what you say is your message, you're saying, I feel this way, they're getting to know you,
Yeah,
that you're a part of it.
yes. Yeah, in Green's 3 steps, so just because you'll see that I'm not like him in that first empathy step. It's not drilling for information. It's not, his is different. But the second step, there are 3. The second step really is a personal message. He calls it the describe the problem. Describe the problem really is from, and his thing is from the adult's perspective. But I see it as very powerfully a personal message. Describe it from your point of view and why. And then the third step is invitation to problem solve. That's our collaborative goal setting. Just like you said, you described, how can we do this and this? That's like the invitation to problem solve. That's, then we're going into the next skill. You don't need that in every situation. You might not even need a personal message in every situation, but when you'll have them when you need them. Let's take a moment and go back to your examples that you had pulled last. So you don't even need to go back to that. I just wanted to open it up for any just questions. Anybody want some specific examples that we could use help with, and we'll pull out the empathy and then we'll pull out personal message. Yes.
Okay, this happened today. I wasn't a part of this, thank goodness.
Okay.
But I was in Michael's, and I hear this lady, I have to see her, big lady, really loud, telling the guy behind where the frames are, that she was there before the other lady he was helping, and she just came from physical therapy. She needed her needs met. She needed to be waited on. And where is the manager? So if you're the manager, what do you say to her, besides like, I'll help you, or somebody else to take over? What would you say to her to reduce her stress and calm her down?
Okay,
I
yeah,
mean,
the
I would be-
empathy, right? Okay, so what is truly, I wanna make sure I'm not going over. I'm gonna just hold this out so I can see the time. Okay, it's 4:46. So, okay, let's step into her shoes for a minute,
Okay?
truthfully. Okay, so she came in and she said, what?
She said, I was here before this lady, and
Uh-huh.
I just came from physical therapy, and I'm not well, and I need to be waited on. That's
Okay.
what I heard
All
her say.
right, so
I'm
what I
thinking,
hear from that, what do you all hear from that? Her feeling, what is her
She doesn't feel good.
She doesn't feel good. She's not,
She's not herself.
she's not herself. She's like, step into her shoes. She's frustrated. She's come from physical therapy. She feels like, I'm different than everybody else in this line. I truly am. I've been in physical therapy, like, you don't understand. It's harder for me than it is for these other people. And you know what it could be, we don't know. But that's what I'm hearing. She's feeling like, it's harder for me and I need to be waited on now because at this point, I can't wait any longer. I don't know why, but that's her,
Yes.
that truly is. So if I were the manager, I would start there, right? Push aside your agenda and there's all these other people. I mean, it doesn't mean he gets to see her right now, but, you know, it's,
Oh my God.
so step into her shoes a little bit more. And then let's see if we can come up with an empathic statement. Yes.
Say, lines if I click first.
So that's a problem solving, we're
Wait a
not
minute,
there
wait.
yet, but see, you just went right through the steps, which is great, I thought,
I would try to, because I've been in that situation.
You-
and
you
sometimes
validated her, you shared that you were sorry for it, and you moved into maybe a potential solution, which is kind of along the lines of that. Let me just step back a little bit and see if some examples of an empathic statement you could say to her. What might you say to her? You're the manager, she's right in front of you and she's frantic, and she says, I've just come from physical therapy. I love how you started with that. You started exactly where I would start. Because when somebody's coming at you strong like that, I can't think, and so it would be just like, you just came from physical therapy and all you wanted to do was see somebody and you need help now. I would just start there.
And then what?
Yep.
And I think I'd say it must be so hard to have to wait for me when you're not feeling well.
Yes, yes, yes.
And then what?
And you just came from physical
And then
therapy.
what?
walk with her there.
That's not yet, not yet. You're problem solving because you're naturally, you're naturally nurturing and caring. And you totally could, but let's go through the steps if we could. So, I mean, it's a great example because parents come to you like that. They're desperate. They're worried about their kids. To really be, and you have a gift. You can be really powerful with that. Just, saying something like, all you know is, she didn't act like this before, and it's terrifying to think that she feels like she has no friends, or it feels like there's something wrong with her. For that lady, it's just that, if everything feels really hard for her, and she feels like she's different, because it's not fair. Nobody else has to sit that long in the pain.
She wants attention.
I think if you recognize.
She just wants to be, I'd say she's just in pain,
Impatient.
she's in pain, she's tired, she wants to go home, and she's got no tolerance.
She was there first, and he waited on that lady before her.
But that is so frustrating, when you
That is
are
so
there
frustrating.
first and somebody
So what-
does that, it is frustrating.
And if you said that to me, I'd be like, yes, thank you.
From the back of the store all the way to the
But it
front.
almost sounds like you were saying it was wrong of her, but now you're saying I know.
What was wrong of her, she was so loud, I had to go and see what was going on. Because, she was so,
Also, I just
She was
sometimes
so
feel like people
rude. She
don't
was so-
understand what you're feeling unless you show an emotion. And we're always being told, if you're not showing that frustration, we don't really know how you feel. So if you're showing that frustration, I can relate it to a time that I've been that frustrated, and then I can be empathetic towards you, because it's like, that must really suck.
Yeah.
okay, so now what?
Sometimes you
so.
don't know, I just describe,
Yeah.
and usually it comes out. 'Cause
And
we
how
don't
to
know,
solve the
Right.
problem.
if it's a kid who's been
I would
scolded,
I would be frustrated if somebody
yeah,
was.
that's your
was in
personal
front of me
message.
sitting
Wow,
late.
I would be frustrated too.
Yeah,
I wanna help you.
I can't say I'm that.
Yeah. I saw some other hands. Yep. Can we take another example, or do we wanna move, do you wanna, the next
You're gonna
step?
solve the problem even though you're not supposed to.
Okay, and you know what, that's your personal message. Before you move to problem solving, a personal message is, I wanna help, I wanna
I'm
figure
gonna
this out.
help you.
That is a good
That's-
personal message right there, and
Well,
that's it.
good. I want
That's all.
something like
All I
that.
know is I wanna help.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God.
So, give me another one. Yes,
So I have a 7-year-old son,
Yes.
and every night he knows exactly when bedtime is, and I give lots of warnings, but.
bedtime might be a kind of postpone, I'm just saying. But okay, go.
But every, it's 8:30,
Yes.
screaming,
Yeah.
like he didn't know that
Okay.
bedtime was gonna be at 8:30. So I'm just I'm asking, what do I do?
Okay.
Cause my
I
old
need to know
tactics
more
aren't
about
working.
I would probably need to talk with you more about, to really solve it, and we could.
Right.
The empathy at that point, I don't know that you would want to, I'd say you postpone it in the moment, but I would come back to it and say something like, it seems like every night, even though you know it's 8:30, it's like, it comes out of nowhere and you're just finally settling in and spending time with us and you don't wanna go to bed. I would not do that in that moment,
Okay.
but I would wanna open it up, and then your personal message, there's so many, right? Like, you might be wanting for him to have a better relationship with going to bed, kinda like what somebody said about the quiet time, like, I want that for you. I'm really exhausted at the end of the day, and I'm torn. I know I wanna connect with you and have this time, I also know that I'm done, I'm tired, and I want you to get your sleep. The collaborative goal setting, which we'll go into next, is really figuring out a strategy. I think you'll probably need another skill. And as part of the next one, it's the routines that are pretty consistent, and you have in the back of your mind some things that he's working toward, like, it probably needs more than that, but if you're just talking empathy, who knows, I mean, we know he knows it's 8:30, but for some reason, it's really hard to wind down. I don't know, maybe he's afraid of falling asleep and waking up in the middle of the night, maybe his mind I don't know. But I'd love to talk to you more about that, because the sleep thing is, I was sharing with her, I get so stressed, I don't anymore, but around bedtime, because I needed my son to go to bed, and then I was afraid that, God forbid I leave him when he's sad, and, yeah. It's almost 5 o'clock. I'm gonna go over your assignments for follow-up assignments, and then I'm here if anybody else stays till 5:05. If anybody wants to, we have about 10 minutes if you wanna run something by me, I'm happy to. So, okay, so, the follow-up assignments are the same, continue reading in brown and green, and then, remember the article called Safety of Empathy? It's a short article. There's one called The Safety of Non-Judgment, it's more about personal messages. And then the video is a Brene Brown TED Talk, it's hilarious, it's really powerful, it's called The Power of Vulnerability. And I may have said that one to you. So that'll come to you from Allison. The article is attached, and then all you do is open up the email and click on that link. If it doesn't go right to that site, just copy and paste it and put it into your browser. Okay, I'll see you.